Let's make us bigger. Good morning. This is Angela Legh, and I have Donna Tashjian with me. Today, we're going to talk about vibrant living and some of the things that really the tools and techniques and skills that can help you achieve that. So, welcome, Donna.
Thank you, Angela. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And can you tell me how you got into vibrant living?
By not being vibrant?
Yes, I can relate to that.
Oh my. I was reflecting this morning during my quiet time. It came up as a memory that I was in a church setting and someone had said that they felt like that God was saying the word vivacious to me. And I did not, and I didn't even know what vivacious meant. And I looked at them funny and I'm like, what does that mean? And I wondered, I actually was thinking, I didn't tell them that. Is that something sexual? That's weird to me. What does that mean? And I didn't even know exactly what the word meant. And now that I know, I did not feel vivacious at all in my life. It was going through a very hard time. And so I went home and looked up the word. What does this mean? And the name Vibrant Living International came from that encounter.
That's
And
so cool.
and learning to say and look about who I wanted to be, who I felt like God was calling me to be. And it means things like bubbly and effervescent and positive and engaging and vibrant. That's a word. Those are all synonyms of what
Yeah.
that word means. But I didn't feel that way at all in my life. And so knowing that we can be who we really are, or we can let circumstances and our beliefs around those circumstances, which then create emotions around those circumstances,
Yeah.
to stifle us.
And it's also that sometimes the people that we're around try and box us into something, and that doesn't fit and it doesn't feel good. So, yeah, let's talk about beliefs, because many of us carry beliefs. I know I did. I thought that I I knew that I had, something in me, but I didn't know that I could be that. So, it's like I knew that I had something to bring to the world to uplift the world, but I kept being told, "Who are you to write a book?" And so that kind of pull the rug out from under your dreams comments can really shift how you believe about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So do
It's
you have a story that relates to a time where somebody said something or you know somehow that rug was pulled out?
Oh, I have felt like I was on my back looking up at the sky, if you will, quite a few times with that rug being pulled.
Yeah.
What hurts even more is when somehow we have developed the belief that we're not good enough. And so when someone says it, it resonates more because we kind of wonder at the same point. So I grew up in um, my mother's grew up with her family that where it was a lot of performance and how well you worked hard.
Mhm.
And there was some points that was very strict and for her growing up, and then she carried that, of course, into becoming a mother. And
Right.
she noticed everything I did incorrectly, but I can't
Oh.
really recall much of when I did something right. And
Mhm.
so it always this feeling that I'm not quite good enough. And I
Yeah.
don't know, but a lot of us there, that is a feeling across the board that we a lot deal with, is somehow I don't have what it takes. Whatever that is, I don't have it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that's generational trauma. You know, your mother was raised in circumstances that caused her to feel not good enough. And many parents either just choose to parent just like their parent did, or sometimes the opposite of how their parent did.
Mhm.
And so she just brought that forward for you. And I know that as a child, you can make decisions about yourself based on the inputs of other, and those beliefs can stick with you through your entire life. Do you want to talk about that?
And they can also not stick with you your entire life as well. So that is possible too. Uh, yes, things that happened in our childhood can affect us and usually do affect us as adults, but they don't have to. My past does not have to determine my future. And so,
Absolutely. Once you
yeah.
become conscious and aware of those energies that are running through, then you can make a choice to.
We can always make that choice. So I developed at a pretty young age an idea that I was going to prove the naysayers wrong. Not quite sure
Mhm.
exactly where that came from, other than I had a relationship with God. But I began to learn and grow, and a lot of self-help growth and inspirational, encouraging, um, surrounding myself with that kind of information, people, books, audios, videos, all of the things as I was growing up. And so that shaped a lot of where I am today, being a life mastery coach, impacting people around the world to be able to live vibrantly. And what does vibrant mean for you will look
That's a
different
great
than
question.
for me. Um, you with your pink hair is very vibrant.
Yeah.
And you probably had people not comment positively about you trying to shine in your own unique way. And so
Yeah.
that's you being vibrant.
Yeah.
And allowing you to be vibrant doesn't diminish me.
No, it doesn't. And that is so the story behind my pink hair is that I was in a marriage with a man who was very emotionally injured but by his childhood, and he um, learned a toolbox of I I I don't want to categorize anybody. And so what I say is that he used tools that a narcissist would use.
Mhm,
That doesn't make him a narcissist. It's just that those are the tools he learned from
mhm,
his parents. And so for me, he would scream at me if I cut my hair too short.
mm,
There was no possibility of me adding color to my hair unless I dyed it back to cover the gray and put it back to
mhm,
the childhood color that I had.
mhm,
That was acceptable, but I didn't have choice in how my own hair would
mhm,
be.
mhm.
But I allowed him
Yes.
to do that. And it was my first act of self love to choose to leave that marriage.
Mm,
And it's like we are raised as children to put other people first. And even the church really teaches that you put other people first. but we are made in the image of God. We are God's creation. And if we cannot love ourselves first, then we cannot truly love anyone, because we must know what our love for ourselves is in order to truly understand what that kind of unconditional love is.
Yes. And Jesus said that you love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah,
And so when we can truly learn to love ourselves, that then I can, because I have received the love, I can there give you love.
exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
And one of the things that I understand um, is that every child needs to learn self love, because a child who doesn't have self love, a child who hates themselves, is going to project out onto the world that self hatred, and they go out and attack. And so that is what happens with bullies. They are so injured from their experiences that they project outward and attack. And what I say is that no one who has self love is ever going to attack another person, because they have that kind of empathy to understand how that feels. But when you're in self hatred, you don't carry that empathic understanding.
Yes, I understand that. It is interesting to think about how our beliefs are shaped and how they can grow by the
Yeah,
influence, because most children do love themselves. They have to be taught that they're not good enough somehow along the
exactly.
way. So,
Yeah, they're born
yeah.
as innocence and um,
Yeah, I remember I used to have mirrors on my closet doors, and my 2-year-old grandson, I walked into the room that the mirrors were, and he was standing in front of it, and he was looking at himself, and he was doing a little dance, and he goes, "I'm so awesome. I'm so awesome. I'm so awesome." Oh, and I took a picture of him, and I'm like, this is a memory, because you are so awesome. And if we can learn that I can be awesome and you can be awesome,
right.
and
My
that
being
we
awesome does not take away from your awesomeness.
absolutely. And so there's so much depletion thinking, that there is not enough. The world is not a pie where I get a piece and then you don't get one. And so we often think about life like that. So if I get something, that means the other person doesn't. And there
Mhm.
is plenty of love from God to go around for all, when we learn how to be a reflection of that love that we have received, as opposed to looking for it in you that I need that love. I can just, when I give it, then I receive. And so learning to be able to change the way our beliefs are, to heal from our past, to have restoration, a revelation of who you really are and how you're really loved, and then begin to design a vibrant life that you would love and how that looks. Give yourself permission to say yes to what you love.
Yeah, beautiful.
And yeah, and begin to say no to what you don't. One of the sessions that I teach is honoring our yes and our no's,
Mm,
giving ourselves permission, because whatever you say yes to, you've also said no to something.
something else.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And
Uh,
further, the idea of being able to say no, giving yourself permission
mhm.
to say no, is
Yeah.
so important in boundary setting,
Mhm.
because when you have no boundaries, when
Yeah.
you have no, like, I'm not going there, then you just are you allow yourself to be tossed around by the world. You
Mhm.
need to say, it's not okay for you to treat me that way. You need to be able to say, I choose to leave because you're treating me that way and you
Mhm.
won't stop. And it's really making that choice that I'm created in the image of God and I deserve to be treated with respect. And setting that boundary is so important for women, especially, I
Yes,
think.
women especially.
Yeah.
One of my favorite statements that I read, and now I repeat it and made it mine, you know how you do that when you read so much,
Yeah.
is boundaries are doors, not walls. This is how you enter my life.
That's
And I
beautiful.
love that reflection because if I'm going to come and visit your house and I'm going to crawl in your bedroom window, you're like, Donna, that's not the way you come into my house.
Right.
You
That's
come in
not
from the
okay.
front door. This is not okay. This is the way you enter my house. And it's that way with relationships. This is how you enter my life, or you don't. And
Mhm.
so, in learning to be able to create doors, this is a door, not a wall. This is how you enter. This is
Right.
the correct way we engage with each other. Changes to me, the shift of a boundary feels like a fence or a wall that's keeping people out. But that's not the goal. The goal is this is the way you enter.
I
This is
love
the way.
that.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
love that picture because it changes the feeling that I'm being mean and eliminating people from my life, even though in essence we are when they're that way. But it's like if you ever want to enter my life, you come with respect. You come this way.
Mhm.
Um, and otherwise that you can't climb in the window. That doesn't work like that. And that to me is creates for me a more inviting warmth feeling than I've created this boundary and you're out.
Mhm. I do like that input, and I don't, having a boundary is just an act of self-love. And
Yes.
it's not necessarily erecting a wall. It's just saying, this is the minimum behavior that I'm going to accept for myself.
Mm,
And so I do love the idea that it's a door through which you're
yes.
coming, but I don't want to give people the idea that boundaries are not a good thing because
That's
it,
not what I meant at all.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what I meant at all. I'm just looking at boundaries in a different way. But
And,
and
and it's
it,
interesting that perspective,
yeah,
how you look at things
yes.
is a really important part of belief. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, perspective is huge in how you see the world. And it first starts with how you look in the mirror. And what do you say when you look in the mirror?
Mm.
How you think about the person in the mirror then becomes a reflection of what you can also see in the world. If you've been in any kind of toxic relationship, most of us have encountered something where people called us something that actually was a reflection of who they were.
Yeah, that's the projection. That
And it isn't necessarily, it is more reflective. Their communication tools is more reflective about them than it is about us. And when we begin to recognize it, it helps us to recognize we don't have to take on other people's opinion
yeah.
of whether your hair should be pink or not, or whatever, because how many different kinds of music are there, and cars and clothing and art. Everyone has an opinion of what's beautiful and what they like, and we have it all.
And it's
But because
personal,
and
right?
it's personal, but because you and I disagree on genres of music doesn't make mine right and yours wrong.
No, it doesn't. And that uniqueness is really important.
Mhm.
That, I see so many kids wanting to
Yes.
fit some norm. Well, who made the norm? You
Mhm.
know, it's like society made the norm. And to really just say, hey, I'm a unique individual and I bring my own gifts, and I'm going to be the best expression of me, and forget what the Kardashians do or forget someone else does. Just truly step into your own beingness.
Yeah, it's really hard to try to feel like we have that belonging when we're children and search for that belonging feeling. And sometimes that means conforming instead of being unique of who we really are, and allowing a lot of the things that were criticized for being different as a child is what makes us shine as adults. And
Isn't
so,
that interesting? Yeah. It's I'm starting excuse me, a new television show called Children's Lives Matter, and
mm,
I've written 2 of the scripts, and it's so interesting to do research about developmental disabilities or Black History Month and seeing the judgment and the way society treats the people of color or people with disabilities, and just changing that dialogue into
mhm,
saying, you know what, you may have challenges, but you bring this unique individualized you-ness to the world, and you matter, you're important, is something that I really would love society to embrace.
mm. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I shed a lot of tears when I was
Mm,
researching YouTube videos for those
yeah.
shows. But yeah. So Donna, do you have any last thing that you would like to bring forth?
Uh, I think we've covered a lot. If I was just kind of recapping our thoughts, is that it is okay to grow and shine and be unique, and it is imperative that we heal from whatever negative belief systems that we grew up in so that we can be the best us that we can be. That vibrant living is possible. It can be easy to achieve, and it doesn't have to be hard. Again, that's a perspective that it
Mhm.
has to be hard or a struggle. It can be easy. I have several systems and ways that I help people. And if anyone listening needs some support, I would love to chat with you and see what would be some great resources. I'm connected with so many different people to help you be the best you that you can be, to overcome whatever it is that is holding us back so that we can have a happy, vibrant life.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing your wisdom and your heart into this conversation.
My pleasure, Angela. Thank you for the invitation.
So, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
My website is the best place, but I am on social media as well. And my name is unusual, so it is easy to find. Um, but, but my website is the letter I, vibrantliving.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I just send out blessings to everyone
Mhm.
who is suffering, everyone who doesn't feel like they're vibrant. Know that you truly are vibrant and can have that kind of vibrant life. You just need the tools.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.